Thank you so very much. Thank you so much for all of your subscriptions, your likes, your comments. You guys, are showing up for me, and I appreciate you. So I'm going to continue to show up for you without a doubt. I can't wait until you connect with my guest today and her amazing energy. So stay till the end because everything she's going to be sharing, it's paced throughout the episode. So bear with me and stay till the end and see how this is going to transform your life if you allow it to. Okay, today we're talking about men and aging and how to level up at any age through any decade of life. If you're a man, so this one is for the special man in your life, okay? This one is to help him be the best version of himself inside and out as he's getting older. Because look, you guys know I just turned 50. And I think aging beautifully and gracefully helps you feel better about yourself and feel good. I feel like you should be able to feel beautiful, sexy, and amazing and hot at any age, right? So, my guest today is going to help you do that. So, fellas, listen up. This is for you. We're going to dive deep and we're going to teach you actionable things you can do that can improve the quality of your life, help you stay fit and strong, and actually even look better. Who doesn't want to do that as they're getting older? So, let me tell you about my guest. She has 25 years of experience, so she knows what she's talking about. She is an expert with functional medicine. She's a coach. She's a mentor. She's helped so many people over the last 25 years. And she's been a dear friend of this podcast for the last 6 years. She's been on here so many times, kicking knowledge and educating people and changing lives. And you can find all of her previous episodes in my playlists and on the Hot Topics Live channel, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. So without further ado, I forgot to tell you, if you want to know all the details about Lynn, check her credentials. They're in the show notes. So scroll down, look at that. Check out what I'm offering. I'm offering a new coaching package right now. So you can check that out. The information is in the description box. Also, how to reach out to me, how to connect with me, how to share good energy with me, all in the show notes of this episode. So definitely stay till the end. You are going to love this one. And thank you for your comments and watching live. I appreciate you. Don't forget to set your notifications so you know when I come live, because I hardly ever know when I'm coming live, and that's the point. So set your notifications. I'll get to your comments in a second. Thank you for dropping comments and participating in the show already. I love you guys. Okay, so you ready for Lynn? Here she is. Hi, beautiful.
Hello, Kia. It's been a long time since I've seen you.
It has been. I feel like it's been like, I don't know, a year, maybe 2.
Although we see each other on Facebook all the time, so but really to connect and really talk, yeah, it's been a couple years, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I am so happy you're here because I think this topic is really important. I have a large male audience, and I think they deserve the love and attention that you would give because they need support as they're aging. And I think people don't understand, that about men. Right. So I think right now, especially, it's a time where men are really, really misunderstood. And so we're going to help you. We know that you secretly want to age the best possible. You want to, be fit. You want to be mentally sharp. You want to be handsome. We know. So today we're going to help you. So Lynn, tell me about how we can help men to stay feeling really good and really healthy. What is one most important thing they should know?
Well, first of all, you men are all amazing because you are the leader of the pack, um, and you're there for us, but you just don't know how to talk and say what you need. You would like to fix things, but you don't know how to fix your physical, emotional, psychological pressures across your lifespan, starting from a very young age. And some men have childhood traumas, and childhood traumas turn into adult dramas. But I will share some things that will help you turn your tragic to magic. So stay tuned to all the way to the end.
Oh, I love that. You had me at magic. So, Lynn, I understand that a lot of times with aging, I mean, it's similar with men and women, right? But we both have different needs. Okay. So, let's talk about gut health. I have recently heard that gut health plays a huge role in aging and longevity. So, what can you share with us about that?
Of course, I say that that's actually the first brain, and
Mhm.
this is the second brain. And gut feeling is like literally called gut feelings. You have an idea what is going on inside you that that is not right. So it's an intuitive feelings, but it's not just like the physical microbiome, which is very important. You have to have good bacteria balance with the bad bacterias. But with this day and age, with the stress, with the diet, we just don't pay attention to those things. Oh, I'll just get something quick. I'm just gonna go. You know, 5 o'clock. We have happy hours. Let's go to help release our stress. And oh, you're just gonna have a drink, not just one. Come on, you're lightweight. I'll buy. So there are so many nuances in a daily life that can cause us men and women, but men to not really talk about their emotions because they're not allowed. I think that's the most important thing that you need to remember as men is to really just to speak up and show what you need. And being vulnerable is not weak. Uh, being needed and to show what you want and need for your health and your time is important because men just go to work and they come home. They may sit and have a beer and watch football, and that's how they unwind. But reality is, you do need exercise. You need time to de-stress, debrief. But you just don't have that, and most men tend to pocket their emotions and then have heart attacks and strokes, or they just go and think that they're going to have a mental breakdown, or after a certain age, and then go buy their Porsche or divorce their wives and have young girls, which is not a really good way to express your feelings.
Okay. So, how does that impact gut health?
Okay, so if you eat food that actually are not good for your microbiome, it can cause you to have leaky gut. And your lining of your gut is only one cell thick. So when you eat foods that are inflammatories, fast food, processed food, it's really not food because this is not really food. It's just chemicals that looks like food, right? So your body said, what is it? It's not food. Is it a bacteria? Is it a virus? It causes inflammation in the body. And so it causes a leakage. And so that one cell thick becomes open. And then now you have protein that's normally in the gut that's not supposed to be in the bloodstream, and it causes inflammation there. So you end up having like anxiety, depression. You can have skin issues. You can have, and a plethora of all the different physical ailments. You can have diagnosis of colitis, IBS, um, and it really affects your brain. That's why there's a gut brain axis. And so those bacterias, if you feed the bad bacteria, then the good bacteria ratios will go down, and I'm having some issues later on when it comes to absorption. So underneath of every major conditions or many conditions boils down to three things. One is deficiency, two is toxicity, and the third thing is absorption. So if you help a patient fix that, great. And then we have lots of challenges because you are not just what you eat, you're how you absorb your nutrient, you are how you internalize physical and emotional stress. People, place, and things can affect you, right? So, and then you have environmental stressors, which is bacteria, fungus among this, and you have chemicals, viruses, heavy metals, radiations, and so those things can actually really affect your health.
Wow. So, you really have me thinking because I'm like, I understand that like a lot of times we think about anti-aging as like just going to the gym and just putting on skin creams. But when you think about the role that gut health has, it's so important because if your microbiome, right, like if your microbiome is off, it's messed up, you have leaky gut, you have all these other issues like inflammation, and all of that makes you feel old. And so a lot of times we don't think about it being gut health, aging our face, aging our body. Like
Oh
when
yeah,
you get in your 30s and you start feeling like, ooh, I can't, my knees, like I can't bend and do all
right.
these things, my hips, like, and then as you get older, it continues on. And I think a lot of times we don't realize it's our stomach, what we're eating, you know, that's impacting how we're functioning.
Yeah, and also, we live in a fast-paced world, and our parents. I mean, what do we do when we live in America? You wake up in the morning, it's cereal and milk. That's inflammatory. So inflammatory. um, so is most people don't realize that eating when we're kids, starting from kids, that we eat sugar. Sugar can actually make kids bounce off the wall, and it itself can actually cause a problem with the microbiome as time goes on. Because when we're young, you know, we can eat really bad food and can still bounce back. But as we age, the body at an older age can no longer tolerate the forces we push upon ourselves when we're young. So every stage of your life should actually be paying attention to, and awareness is key. And it starts from the home. Sometimes mom is so busy, and oh, here's something to eat, or here's a package of food, or here's some money to go to McDonald's because I don't have time. So as a child, you don't have uh, you don't you it's involuntary. You don't have a choice, really. Things were done for you. But there's a point in time where you have consciousness and awareness, and you're like, you know what, this is not what I want. I don't like to look like this. Starting like around teenagers. This is when you're rising to testosterone and your identity formation, and that's when you feel like you want to compare yourself to everybody else. And then you have body image issues, just like women. 1 in 5 boys report having depression, and
Mhm.
most never seek help. There's lots of social pressure of being strong, using testosterone, and the emotional that can lead to an emotional suppression at an early age, and feeling like you have to perform academically, sports, and looking good, so a girl will like you. And behind the
Mhm.
scene, you're like, oh,
Right.
what did I say? Did I say something that's like so stupid? Oh my
Well,
God.
we all think like that, right? But we mask it.
You mask it. And then, your 20s, you're like right where you're at the peak performance with your highest levels of stress, career, trying to figure out what you want to do, who you want to be with, and who are you, and what's it like to be a 20-year-old going out and thinking that you're going to be like this person and winning it. And how would a 20-year-old know himself? I mean,
Yeah.
I know when I was 20, I was like, okay, I'm going to go home and be this person, but it's unfolding, right? So, um,
And then you have like some people, life is unfolding. And then you get into your 30s, which is, I think, my largest audience is from about 30 to 45. But I do have some a lot younger. Like I have a big audience of people in different age groups. But I think if I isolated my largest one, it
Right.
would be from like 30 to 45.
Okay.
And I would say, like, once you get past your 20s, a lot of people um hit their 30s, and whether they were super successful in their 20s and created this career or they weren't, there's this point in your 30s where, for men and women, I think, where they feel like, oh my gosh, like, is this the life I want? Or am I happy in this life? Or am I failing? And you start to question everything. And I think I love how you started this out, because we talked about emotional health, because that does play a factor. And you don't think that that plays a factor in your aging, but your emotional health does play a factor in your self care practices, right?
Absolutely.
Because if you're not feeling good about yourself, you're not taking care of yourself very well.
Right. Adults are children inside their big bodies, and sometimes they're teenagers. That teenage form can get stuck, and you can be arrested develop. So there are a lot of 30-year-olds and 40-year-old men. They feel like they're still inadequate because their teens and 20s have not been met, and the foundation hasn't been formed, and they're
Mhm.
or maybe they have to like just step in, and maybe a parent died, so, or maybe something tragic happened to them and they have to like bring it. In the 30s, that's when they start noticing that the testosterone start to decline, the muscle mass starts to decrease, and they're going to the gym more. They feel fatigue, irritability, maybe the weight starts to gain in a belly area, career pressures, family responsibilities, and then chronic stress starts to come in, and then you have burnout. There's 1 in 4 men in the 30s reporting having depression, but they hide it due to stigma. They don't really talk about it, and fear not achieving it enough, and
Mhm.
that becomes a major psychological stressor because I'm not bringing it, and they feel like they're just being um, called a loser.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. And I think we all do that, but I think men really do struggle a lot of times with this kind of stuff because, you know, it's kind of like what the patriarchal society dictates, that who a man is, like how they can't share their emotions, or how, how they have to show up and what they need to be doing in order to be considered, like a real man or whatever.
Correct.
And also, it's not like a normally accepted practice for men to care about like their skincare routines
Mm.
and all of that stuff, to the things that they should be doing to help themselves age in reverse and feel good in their body as they're growing older. So we see all of this stuff happening in our 30s, and it's building. You've got marriage, you've got kids, you've got relational problems, and then you add that onto being in a fast-paced environment where maybe you aren't making the best food choices, maybe you're not getting to the gym as much as you used to, maybe you've had an unexpected loss in the family or a health issue that popped up that was pretty serious, that took you off your path, right? And so I'm glad you mentioned sugar. Right, right, because sugar is in everything. Alcohol, everything. So that's something a lot of people use to relax, to let go, and that is part of a culture that happens really early, like sometimes high school, sometimes college, sometimes the military. I was in the military. The Navy was a big great drinking culture, right? So sugar's in that stuff. And sugar is, like, in my opinion, the biggest drug, and we're all junkies. So, and I mean, because it's in everything. It's literally in everything. It's so hard to not eat sugar or drink sugar. And so sugar in a lot of people is disruptive to their health. and it creates inflammation, and inflammation is going to affect your joints. It's going to affect your skin. You talked about acne, and a lot of people don't even realize that this, the foods that they're eating, and sugar is a big contributing factor in their appearance and their decline in strength and their physical appearance and all of these things. So I'm glad you mentioned sugar earlier, because I think, being able to cut back on that is a big factor that helps you to age better and helps your body feel better.
You're right, but we were all primed from sugar. I mean,
Mhm.
I used to work in the pediatric, or labor and delivery, and after the kids is born, some will have circumcision, and what they do is they give them sugar water before they start doing the little cut.
Oh, wow. Who
Um, bro-
knew?
they don't cry, right? So then, when you cry when you're a kid, what do they give you? A lollipop, you know.
Mhm.
Here's a lollipop, or here's some M&Ms or something to just shut you up. But kids, if kids, if you're a mom, the kids, when they go to a birthday party, they bounced off the wall after eating a bunch of candies, right? But when you're an adult and you ate 10 donuts in the morning and that Red Bull and that cup of coffee, a ton of sugar with the cream, and you bounced off the wall and you act like a crazy man in the afternoon, it's called misconduct. It's called that ASSO, right? So, but nobody watches you, how you ate, how you slept, according to what happened to you, right? So you may went through a really hard day at work, and you just come home and just get a beer. I mean, that's sugar. You stress,
Mhm.
your body produces sugar because your body's cortisol level
Mhm.
produces sugar, where you have storage of sugar in your liver, right? So, and in your muscles. So, but I say, you know what? You're sweet enough. You don't need excess sugar. I swear.
It's
Then you
hard
are.
to avoid.
It's only hard if you constantly used to eating sugar. Breaking the pattern of eating sugar is you need to add more protein and healthy fats, so your body will sustain hunger. You have more satiety, and then there's herbs that you can take. That it's a bitter herb. Gymnema is one of them, and you just feel like you don't crave for them. But you got to learn how to prime those things, and you have to have a coach to teach you how to go about doing those things. It's not about just eating keto. I have people just eat meat, 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 and nothing else. I mean, you don't have a balanced diet. um, I think I met Dr. Joe Furman years ago. I met him, and he talked about his form of diet is not like a vegetarian or pescatarian or a vegan, but he said that food should be you should be a nutritarian, which is the most amazing thing I've heard. And I've adopted it. You need to eat food that is real, that your body recognizes as food. I mean, if a plant's like, hey, try to put some Gatorade or a Red Bull on a plant and see if it's going to live, right? So we need to eat food that your body recognizes so it can assimilate, so it will make protein, so your hair and your skin be vibrant. I mean, you're a human being. Just you're other than your sex organ, and more testosterone than estrogen. You have similar hormones as women. And so this is the most important age, during the 30s and 40s, when your body you start noticing little things, and hey, you know what? My testosterone looks like it's starting to, I start feeling like, I don't have as much as muscle. So if you exercise, your body will produce more testosterone. If you sleep good, that your body will produce more testosterone. It's not about getting more testosterone on the outside, but when you take as testosterone on the outside, you're actually telling your body to shut off your own testosterone. And so you better make sure that you don't want to be fertile, because you're not going to be able to have children if you use testosterone on the outside. And not only that, testosterone can also increase your clotting factor. And that's why men who goes through testosterone replacement would need to have a blood test to make sure that your blood count is good and liver functions good, things like that. But our glands needs to be supported, not be shut off, right?
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Since you brought up testosterone, because that's super important, and
Yeah.
I think this is kind of for my guys that are late 30s and into their 40s, right? Because obviously the dreaded ED is a thing. And
Yes.
believe me, I have been like, um, I've been doing my dating after divorce series, right? So I spent about a year and a half dating until I met someone. Spoiler alert. And so I noticed that guys in this age group of their late, very late 30s and to like mid 40s can sometimes have struggle with issues with this, right? And so some of the people that I met were taking testosterone and were doing things in order to make sure that they, um, you know, felt good about themselves, we'll say. And so, if you're taking external testosterone, what I understand is that you want to not take it in a way that you are unable to create your own. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is that your body, there's a reason why your body doesn't make it, right? So
Mhm.
there's a hormone imbalance. Maybe you have too much estrogen,
Mm.
right? So maybe
Mhm.
your liver is sluggish. The liver has sex hormone binding globulin, which is like a cart to allow these hormones to get on there so they go about its way. But how many people will actually know that somebody has like fatty liver? You hear the form fatty liver from either alcohol or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Well, if your liver is just jammed up with fat, how can the hormones actually have the cart sit on the cart to go to the proper place? So really, your sex organ is not the penis. It's literally your liver. So if
You
you
know what?
clean up your liver and your gut, let me tell you, your body will go
Wow.
back to this form. And if you exercise, sleep well, eat well, eliminate your bowels, talk well to yourself. And that's the hugest, most huge thing. People don't talk well to themselves. They have this like little inside voice that's dictated by the outside noise. You're not good enough until you make this much. You're not good enough until you have this woman. Don't good enough until you have this house. You're good enough. Just every single day participate in your life unfolding. Don't listen to anyone else. Just listen to yourself, what you need according. If you can understand your language of sensation and how you feel according how you slept and how you ate, what's been happening in your life. Oh, I didn't work out enough. Or maybe I've been eating too much crap. You hear yourself talking like that. That is your intuition. That's your gut feeling saying, well, I just literally like I overdid it. But we live in this world very unconscious. And that is your own bad habits that has been replaced by the conscious things that we do. If you do conscious habits and habit stack and you continue to good habit stack, just do it. You just become this person. You just are the person. Instead of you saying, okay, I have patients who are like, oh, I want to quit smoking. I said, no, don't be a smoker, identify as a smoker and want to quit. You're always going to want to quit. How about this? How about I'm the person who never smoked and I don't like, I'm not a smoker. If you're a smoker, you go to a place that you don't smoke, then you leave that place, you go back to smoking a cigarette. Or when there's a stressor, you will go back. But if you identify yourself as, I no longer smoke, I'm not that person anymore, then it's so easy. It's just like an athlete who's like, I just go to the gym. That's just my normal thing, right?
Well, I mean, that takes a lot of, I think, reprogramming work because it almost sounds like you could just
Awareness
say, "Oh, I'm a non-smoker. I'm not someone who smokes," and then you just don't. But
is
I was once a smoker, and I don't
mental
think
shift,
it's
right?
that
It's a
easy,
mental shift. It's a
but
mental
you
shift.
do. But sometimes what I'm trying to say is that the mental shift can sometimes take time.
It,
So you have to kind of be a little bit like, "Okay, I'm gonna do this reprogramming work over 100 days." I'm not gonna just
and
go out to.
not everyone wants to do it. I mean, you can do it as fast as you decide, hey, I'm just not going to do it. Or Maybe you need to have oh my gosh, I just got diagnosed with cancer. Oh my God, I just got diagnosed with a heart attack. Or maybe a family who just got a heart attack.
For me, it
Whatever.
was getting pregnant, right?
Right.
Like it was
And
like,
so
oh,
it
I'm
depends.
pregnant. I have to quit smoking.
Yes, but why would you quit? Because
Yeah.
that living thing is in there. I've had a patient who did the same thing. She said she
Yeah.
quit because she had she got pregnant. I'm like, why did you quit? And she said, well, what are you talking about? I have a baby in there. And then I said, well, so? And she said, well, that's a living thing inside of me. I said, but you're not a living thing. You're the host. You're still the baby inside this big body, right? So she was like, oh my gosh, epiphany. So just love yourself. We came into this world loved. Somebody had to nurture us and take care of us and fed us. You're still that person. We just get labeled so many times. We get labeled and we forgot who we are. So there's a day that you're born, there's going to be a time that you're going to exit. In between is you got to remember who you are this whole time along the way. Adopt what's good, the things that are not good, learn from it. Let's move forward, unfolding. You're the best version of yourself as you continue to move forward. So even when your hormones are starting to go wacko, I mean, it's also a, a, a a little sign that tells you, hey, get back to yourself. You know, I love you when you're in your 30s and 40s, when you realize, hey, you know what? I couldn't do that stupid thing that I used to do and get away with it anymore. Right?
Yeah.
You know, you have what's called andropause, just like women who have menopause, where the weight starts to come, pack on the low libido, the change in your mood, the decline of performance, and feeling like you're lazy, but really it's just like your body is just toxic and you're malnourished. And then there's relationship issues when you're not good, you don't feel good about yourself, then it affects your relationship with your loved ones, and sex is not good and emotion is not good, and then you have a feeling of loneliness. And loneliness can actually, you can put a mask on like you don't care, and then this is a peak of divorce, 40s and 50s, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned loneliness, because there's all this talk about this male loneliness epidemic, right? But I also just recently did an episode about why men are choosing to be single as well. And there's a lot of factors in this. So I think yes, um both men and women are choosing to be single more, but at the same time I do think there is a lot of people who are feeling lonely, right? And when we don't feel good about ourselves, we are less likely to put ourselves out there, right? When I was doing my dating after divorce series, one of the things that I find, I talked to so many men, I met so many men. I didn't go on dates with all of them. I only went on dates with a handful, but like I got a chance to talk to and connect with so many men and get really a good understanding. And what I found out there was that there's a lot of toxic women too. And guys get sick of that just like women do, and they feel used and they feel like women are gold diggers and all of this and that.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of it comes from, like you were talking about earlier, wounding from childhood and from our teenage years and our young adult years, from maybe having these core wounds that led us to choose the wrong types of partner because we weren't really feeling good about ourselves, and a lot of the pressures that men have. I mean, when they're young, they're like just trying to hook up and stuff, and women too. And so as we get older and like long-term relationships begin to fail and we're starting to let ourselves go, one of the things that I also saw was that age group, like from around 43 and up with men, that they were really letting themselves go. And a lot of them were super bitter from divorces and just like opting out, or like kind of putting themselves out there but not really looking for anything because they're so wounded from that marriage failing or that long-term relationship not working out. And so I think, that aspect of mental and emotional health coupled with gut health and diet and exercise is the way to go if you're trying to have longevity. And you know what? Something else I would suggest to men that I have seen work for some of the ones that I have been talking to, and it's about mobility and detoxing. So you mentioned like a liver being all, full of junk, like detoxing your liver, doing a heavy metal detox, getting your hormone levels checked. Um, all of these things really taking a look at your prostate health even. And like I just recently saw something about prostate massage. And so I wanted to ask you, what are some of the things that can happen to men if they don't manage their prostate health?
Well, prostate has it's a gland, the gland that actually makes fluid for ejaculation, right?
Mhm.
So as time, passes, late 40s, early 50s, depending on like race, the gland will start getting enlarged. The diagnosis is called benign prostatic hypertrophy. So it is sitting around the urethra, which is the tube where the urine comes from. So when you have this enlarged prostate, it will it will squeeze against the tube, and so you would have more frequent urination, especially when you lay down, getting up, going for a little bit, come back and lay down, urinary frequency and urgency, incomplete bladder emptying. Um, that can cause, uh, it's just like anything. If you don't use it, you lose it. So, so I'll let you go through that part. But the thing, I mean, ejaculation does help. Um, you were saying prostate massage, but I'm not in that. I'm not an expert in that.
Well, I understand.
I'm
I
not-
understand. I'm just saying I was doing some research, okay? And what I'm saying, you can look it up yourself. I
Sure.
encourage you to do your own research and Google it because I think guys will feel a little bit awkward about this, but it will change your life is what my understanding is.
Well, I mean, you
And
think about the also women. I mean, our pelvic floor, you know, we have decline and everything starts to kind of slope downhill. We don't use it, right? So exercise is key. And when you exercise, just don't jam and jerk and push too hard. Just really listen to your body. Start doing, I mean, I've been doing more of like a fascia type of workout where you actually work on your fascia, doing a lot of stretching, spinal strengthening, that the hip movements, abs, core, those things are very important. It's not just to look good and have a six pack. It's like your organs are being massaged, right? So then you can eliminate better. And then the spine.
Mhm,
The spine
mhm.
will actually gives you all the nerves. So you got to make sure that you have good, healthy spine. And, go back to sugar. Sugar will break down your bones. It will dismantle your bone. So I know our body's a skeleton, but we do break down, but we can also build up. um we can. And then back to what you were saying about loneliness and men who actually feel lonely. um you know Sometimes childhood, what they saw in their home and how their parents behave, they tend to like repeat. Children repeat exactly what their parents do, not necessarily what they say. So they may pick a partner that does the same thing as their parents do. So you know they don't even know, that's just subconscious. But there's a difference between loneliness, sick of it, and become like, I call it solitude. So you got to know yourself and be really like full on understanding who you are. So then that way you have good boundaries to be able to have like those radars out there and say, hey, you know what, I'm looking for this type of partner. So you can be picky and choosy. I mean, life is not about just I'm just going to go and date somebody. I just want that person to be in my life, but that person can ruin your life, right? So you got to figure out what you want, but you got to match that person, right? You can't just ask that, I want this person to make me happy. No, you have to be happy first, and everybody else is an add-on. So be a man of service. Be a man who give a damn about his life, and you're worth it. You're worth it, because guess what? We women, we need healthy men as you guys age, because there's not a whole lot of y'all.
It's true. Like, I mean, like I said, I do the dating after divorce series. Actually, I know I need to do an episode, you guys. My bad. But I will do one. I've been just crazy busy and with the new course that I'm doing. So it's just been a lot of work. But one of the things that I learned when doing this whole process was just how important it is for men to show up in beautiful ways for women, right? And I mean, I'm not going to dive deep into it right now, but like what you said about acts of service and for a woman to feel safe and appreciated in your presence, but also knowing how to make a man feel appreciated. And so when we're thinking about the loneliness epidemic and men giving up on dating, I want to encourage everybody to not give up. Take breaks if you have to. Enjoy being single. I mean, I enjoy being single so much, but I also enjoy being in a partnership. And I will tell you, it has been statistically proven that a man's lifespan increases when he's partnered with a woman in a good relationship, right? In a good
Absolutely.
relationship, not necessarily, especially a good relationship, but in any relationship, because of what a woman does and brings to that relationship. But also, a woman's lifespan decreases when she's married, right? And so for me, I know that. And yet I still choose to not give up on being partnered because I just really do enjoy it. So when I was spending time dating, I always it's overwhelming, it's exhausting, it's annoying, sometimes it's tiring, it's disappointing. It's a lot of crappy things, and dating apps do not help. And after COVID, nobody knows how to meet in person anymore half the time. So it's hard, right? But so you have to take breaks, but don't give up because it can be worth it. And if you're not feeling good about yourself, I would suggest starting with your health and getting some maybe functional tests done and some testing done to see what you're deficient in, what your body's needing. Lynn does all that kind of stuff. And so once you know what your body needs, you can start giving it to your body. And that's going to be one of the crucial elements in reversing your aging, is giving your body what it needs. We all know exercise, right? We all know, but different types of exercise like mobility training adds longevity. Like if you're complaining right now, you're thinking, oh, my knees, my hips, my shoulders. Mobility training is the key to that. If you're dealing with, frequent urination, look into prostate massage. It could be the key to relieving that for you. At one time, Lynn, you told me on another episode that if a man can't see his feet when he looks down.
Okay, let me explain again. Okay, so
Okay. Okay.
let me kind of reiterate what you said. Okay, so when I had my practice in Florida, I had men who come to my practice, and they also wanted I want to be on testosterone. I want to check my testosterone level. And some of these men are young. I mean, they're not in their 50s, they're like in their 30s. So I said, okay. I just took a glance at this one guy and I said, okay, I'm going to give you a test. And this test does not even require a blood draw. Okay. So stand up tall, roll your shoulders away from your ears, take a deep breath. And when you exhale, put your chin towards your chest and look down. And it's called CYSYP. Can you see your penis? And if you can't, that means you have an estrogen belly and you need to detox that belly. Or else you have shrinkage and you won't be able to see the penis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then it's a
This
really
is
quick
real.
way
This
to
is real
tell.
stuff. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm just making fun of you. I'm not. It's just the liver is overly taxed. Your pancreas is overly taxed. You're a time bomb waiting to happen because your momentum have a lot of fat. This men have over 40s have the highest rate of silent cardiovascular disease, and it's still the number one death in America. And then, as we continue to advance in age 50s or 60s, is the sarcopenia, which is the musculoskeletal things that go down, the joint pain, the chronic inflammation, and then people are just jumping on taking Ozempic. Let me not talk about Ozempic. Now they're talking about, like little tiny dose will help. But let me tell you, your body knows. And when you start doing those things, I mean, just start with nutrition. Start with nutrition, to start with what's in your closet, look at what's going on with your life right now. You are so smart. You're so smart. Maybe you do need a little help to kind of redirect, look at, reorganize what you got. But let's look at what you have first before you start putting on top of the things that are, maybe 10 years later, it's going to say, well, you have, it can cause another problem. My sister just had a friend who's 62 years old, who is a little bit obese, worked all his life. He's a father, and he just retired 2 weeks later, took Ozempic, and dropped dead.
Stop
Yeah, his
it.
heart
For
stopped.
real?
Yeah, his heart stopped.
Oh.
So I mean, you don't hear this very often. You hear people, even young people who actually take Ozempic, they start having sarcopenia at a young age. Sarcopenia is you have osteoporosis, your bone loss, your joints will ache, your stomach stops producing, motility. It will slow down to the point where when you even stop, once you stop using it, your motility, your gut motility still goes down. It may not go back. So there's still much more studies out there. We will see the tsunami aftermath later on. But let's look at the body. Your body's real. It needs real stuff. Don't hide it. You can't be fake. You can't be fake. You can break it a little bit, but the body just knows, right? It needs the vitamins and minerals. Those are your cofactors to teach your body how to, move all your hormones, just how you live your lifestyle. It's the most important, you know. Yeah, you might need some antibiotics, if you have a major infection here, and a tooth infection can actually go into your heart or your kidneys, or you have strep throat. But those things are just once in a great while, because when you take antibiotics, you can actually kill your bacteria and your microbiome for at least 2 years for it to regrow. So take medicine as it's a very powerful weapon, and not just say, I'm just going to go and get something quick. Well, I'm just going to go and nip it in the bud. I've seen that all the time when, I used to work in a private practice where patients will come in. I'm like, I think I'm catching a cold, but I can't miss work. Can you give me an antibiotic? I'm like, no, it doesn't work. It's like me giving your keys, my keys to your car. It doesn't work that way. Well, I want it just in case if I actually don't feel better, because I can't afford to take time off. So
Wow.
it is
That's a systemic problem, because we
it
should be
is
able to afford to take time off.
right. And then if you retire, when you retire in your 60s, well, your body starts to break. You want to wait till then? That's why I say aging beautifully now. Just start now. I don't care how old you are. If you're 20s, 30s, just start being proactive and taking good care of yourself. Love yourself like you cannot be replaced.
Mhm.
Love yourself like you cannot be replaced.
I love that. I think aging beautifully now starts at any age, because preventive medicine is the best medicine. So if you start by, I'm not saying don't have any fun, but like, you have to take care of yourself. You have to detox your body. You can intermittent fast. I love to do a good 72-hour fast to reset my body. Like, we just had Thanksgiving in the United States. And obviously it's a feast. And so we had lots of wonderful food. I cooked lots and lots, and we had desserts and stuff. And so it was nice to enjoy that. But then after that, after I drink like wine and all of those things that I enjoy, okay. But I also know that if I want to have longevity, I can't overdo it with those things. And so if I feel like I have indulged myself, which I am known to do on occasion, okay,
What,
I
you're
like to
human?
have a fast. Right, right. Like I like to have a fast, a good 72-hour fast. Do your own research, but what I have found is it's extraordinary for your body to just give your digestive system a rest to let your cells like sort of regenerate. And it also helps me. I have some lymphatic drainage issues with inflammation around my health issues, my chronic illness. And so what I have found, along with dry brushing, which you can learn how to do on YouTube. Just find it. I recommend it for everyone. But dry brushing and fasting really helps to help me to release the water retention after drinking, after all of that. And men don't, I say this because men don't think about these things unless you have a woman in your
Dry
life
brushing.
who's knowledgeable
I'm
about
like,
it and
what are
who's
you talking
teaching
about?
you like what skin creams to put on. Like you need to have a morning and evening skincare routine as well as taking care of your body inside. I like to I think it's important to like use an oil body soap and like oil and in addition to lotion after I get out of the shower to help take care of my skin. Your skin is not just on your face when you're aging, it's your entire body. A lot of women don't think of that. Definitely men don't think of that. But if you really want beautiful skin, something you said at the beginning of this episode is it starts inside. So what you're putting in addition to what you're putting in your body, and you know, the fasting and taking care of your liver and your gut health, which is the two main things you talked about, and your prostate health, right? It's, take it begins inside. And then the creams and the oils and the lotions that you use for your body that can help slow down the effects of aging, like hyaluronic acid, um, is going to be even more beneficial for you if you're taking care of your emotional and your gut health, I think.
So if you think about your house that you want to paint, okay, if you just put fresh paint on it without cleaning on the inside, how are you going to be able to let this stick? You think it's going to stick? So take care of yourself on the inside. Those things are a little add-on. I mean, if you really want, you know, don't try to use all these crazy lotions on the outside, even though that, they're like, it's great, it's great. But you know what? Even stuff that you can find in the kitchen, like freaking olive oil and some like Himalayan salt, just make a scrub,
Mhm.
or, some honey and start doing that.
I love
Um,
holistic things. I love like natural oils like coconut oil and stuff like that.
jojoba oil.
You don't have to have, like, if it's from the earth, always better.
Yeah.
But you do need to, I love to supplement. You're the queen of supplementation, so I want to get into that next. And I love to supplement with internal and external hyaluronic acid. And if you can find that naturally, by all means, do it. But I have certain products that I like to use. And I do think that they do add some value. They definitely work for me, but I don't think that they would be as effective if I didn't take care of my body from the inside out. Mhm,
Sure. Why spend all this supplements and all this stuff that, your body is junk?
mhm,
It's just not. You just you're buying just expensive stuff, and then a lot of expensive stuff are all processed too. So, I work with I use a lot of products from Standard Process because I've been to their farm and I've seen that those supplements are made from food based, where it actually goes from the farm when they harvest it at the highest yield of nutrients into the um, conveyor belt, and then they make the tablets and they bind them with honey. And the herbs that they have are high grade, so it does work. But you got to know what you're doing, because some people are taking medications from and there's from their provider, and they do have um, cross you know contraindications. So you got to know if somebody's on blood thinner or not, right?
mhm,
So, but there lies on eating well, supplement, because we just can't eat as much. I mean, one apple equals to eight apples now. Back then, we
mhm.
can eat one apple equals to one, to the nutrients. But now you have to eat as who's going to eat eight apples or a ton of broccoli versus I3C, under bicarbonol, which is from broccoli. So give the body what it needs. Do the things. Just take some time and just there's a power of pausing and just listening to your body. I mean, waking up in the morning, just like 5 minutes. Hey, how you feeling? Just map your day. I think that's going to be helpful instead of just running, just like constantly people are just constantly just get on their feet and just run, put in the gas and go without just checking in. And, there is such a thing when you have a car to check in, right? Sir, you know, whatever 1,000 miles checkup, and then every so often you get a major like workup. So work with your practitioner, and have healthy friends who are actually are into health. But when you hang out with people, first 5 people they say, you hang out with are, they'll show you who you are.
Yeah, show me your friends and I'll show you your future, right? So
Exactly.
you become
So
who you hang around with
if you hang out with, I want to stop drinking, but you just hang out with buddies who drink. I mean, how are you going to be able to do that? I mean,
or
you can
smoke.
say
We were talking
no.
about that
Yeah.
earlier.
After a while, I mean, once you stress, it's like that one little thing that gets you right back to the same old bad habit. And habit is a habit if it's unconscious. But when you say it's a habit, it's literally a choice because you know that that's a habit,
Ooh. I
right?
mean, somebody just felt dragged by that.
Yeah. You're like,
But
oh
it's
yeah, I have
true.
a habit of drinking. Well, then it's a choice.
Yeah.
If you drink, you are going to decrease your brain frontal lobe, and you can't make right decisions. And your drunk self is actually making all that ruckus, and then your sober self has to pay. And not
Yeah.
to mention, you can actually lose bone, you lose vitamins, and that's why people who actually go to the hospitals when they're drunk, they get a banana bag, which is folic acid and thiamine, which is B1. You lose it, and you get the shakes because your body loses the B vitamins, and vitamins are very important to wrap around the nerves. And so, nutrients get leached out if you're eating bad food because it's almost like I have to pay my body's got to like pay the nutrients in order for me to get that junk out of my body. So you can be mineral
Hmm.
deficient if you eat bad food. The
I
toxic
feel like
level,
we're like so many people are
I
walking around
know,
here mineral deficient and have
they're
no
so
idea.
mineral deficient and they're toxic and they can't absorb shit. So if you know those 3 things that you could do, you could really help yourself so much. Um, but of course you need to have some guidance. I mean, you sit down and just like you can look up all you want on the internet and you don't do it, and you have no guidance and nobody who knows what you know I mean, I won't go do surgery on myself if I don't know how to do it, right? So you got to do your due diligence.
Chat GPT could tell you how to do it,
Oh
and no, I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
sure, you can tell you all kinds of stuff, see what they can
No,
help
you
us
go to a surgeon, right? That's why I say you need a coach, because a coach can give you guidance or a practitioner, depending on what you're getting into. But like, you need some support, you need some guidance, you need some help, that is going to keep you on your path or support you on your path, um, to be successful, right? I mean, and you have to first and foremost, if you are going to work with a coach, especially if you're going to work with me, you need to be committed. You need to make up your mind that this is what you want to do, because no matter how much you work with a coach, they can't do the work at the end of the day for you. I can't like Lynn can't force feed the supplements down your throat and make you move your body, even if it's just for a walk, right? Like she can't do that. She can guide you. She can maybe go for a walk with you. She can motivate you, inspire you, however, whatever, but you have to be committed inside yourself to want to make these positive changes and to do these changes. So
you
that
can lead
that
the
is,
horse to the water, but you can't make them drink, like what they say, right?
yeah, yeah, for sure. So Lynn, it has been just about an hour. We're gonna wrap
Wow,
it up. I know that went by so
that went
quickly.
by so fast.
um is there any, like, if you had to just do bullet points of, like, I know we talked about it, but just to drive it home,
Okay.
like, concisely, what bullet points would you give to one of your male patients to help them start aging in reverse starting today?
Okay. So The most important thing that you need to do is remember your self-worth. Okay? From the day you're born, there's going to be a day that you're going to exit. Everything that you do in between, if you're conscious, and this is your life. And one of my coaches taught me life is an acronym of, no, I'm sorry, life. This is your life, but it is yourself. Self, the acronym of self is spiritual, evolving life force. And you're the force to be reckoned with. And as you continue to age and unfolding 60, 70, 80s through your retirement, I want you to live your best life. And if you eat your food as your medicine, you don't have to take your medicine as your food.
Wow, that is so good. Like, honestly, um, I'm definitely gonna remember that. And I would also just like to thank you so much, Lynn, for being a guest on Hot Topics Live
Thank you
podcast
for having me.
today. I want everyone to know, like, where to find you and how you can help them.
Yes, you can reach me at, you can look at my website. And yes, this is catered to women, but I also take care of men too, and their spouses, because when a woman gets better and like, they want their partners to be on board too. So agingbeautifullynow.net, and you can, message me, or at agingbeautifullynow at gmail.com. My IG handle is Aging Beautifully Now. So you can follow me there and see what I do on a regular basis, with my family. And I really want to lead a healthy life and be a servant of taking care of you. My whole purpose and passion is to want you to be alive and thrive, and to just living your life to its fullest in this world, being with your family, your friends, doing the things that you need to do on a regular basis, because this is living and this is now, not, oh, I wait until I'm retired, or I'll wait until when I have money, or I wait, there's no wait. You don't know if you're going to die tomorrow. And so let's just be happy now and start working on your taking care of yourself now.
Thank you so much, Lynn. I really appreciate you. I'm going to put you in the green room and wrap it up. And I'll see you there shortly. If you can stay, if not, I'll catch up with you
Yes, thank you.
another time.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening. I really appreciate you for listening, and hopefully you get something out of it, and take what you need and leave the rest behind. This is all about your journey, no one else's.
For sure. Thanks for that. See you soon. Okay, so she is quite a person. She's just like very, very knowledgeable, but her heart is so good. And you can tell that it really is important to her to help people to live their best life possible, which is in alignment with Hot Topics Live podcast. That is the mission of this podcast, to bring people here that could help you to live your best life possible and enjoy life, because you're amazing and you deserve it and you're worthy of it just because you were born. We have like lots of wounding and things, that terrible things and traumas that happen in our life that sometimes get in the way of us treating ourselves well. And we have to just work through that. We have to work through the pain in order to get to that point of self love, to where we love ourselves enough to take care of ourselves. And that is the first and most important thing that both men and women need to understand for aging in reverse. Number two, what I'm taking away from Lynn, is that we need to take care of our liver. We need to take care of our gut health. We need to take care of our prostate. We need to take care of our hormone levels and watch what we're eating, because they're putting so much, at least here in the States, pesticides and things like that on our food that make estrogen in our bodies. And so we're all running around with too much estrogen. So I encourage you all to go get tested. If you can have access to a holistic practitioner or a naturopath, find a good one, find a coach who does this kind of thing, work with them. Things to look into: intermittent fasting, and fasting like a 72-hour fast. Also, how to get off sugar and ways to at least cut back, because it is in pretty much everything. Um, and this will, anti-inflammation diets, mobility training, moving your body in new and different ways. There's this girl I follow on Instagram. I can't think of who it is, but she teaches about squatting, like the original squat position that we all did back in our ancestors did back in the like cave times and whatnot, or and down through the ages in lots of cultures, and how important this is for your body. So look into that because it could be useful. Keep an open mind. There's a lot of ways to help your body to maintain its longevity. Um, Workouts, but traditional workouts are not all there is, right? But being active is really important, as well as your diet, as well as, detoxing your liver. I love to do a good liver detox frequently, and I encourage any man I'm dating to do the same thing. And also, I believe in skincare, finding the products that work for you. I think men don't do that enough. I think you should find, once you're taking care of your inside of your body and taking care of that, you should find things that feel good on your skin, that give you hydration. I also like this supplement called NAD. And so I encourage you to look into that too. So supplementation, minerals, all of that stuff, you need to know what your body needs, right? And you need to know if you have difficulties absorbing certain things and what you need to do in order to be able to absorb it. So first and foremost, like really understanding your body and wanting to do this stuff is an act of self-love. Self-care is self-love, and men deserve it. Right? You deserve it. You work hard your whole lives. You're taught that you can't have emotions and you can't feel like all of these things that happen to men. And so I think as you're getting older, to prioritizing your self-care in a healthy way in your health is really, really, really critical. So I'm a woman who loves men, and I'm raising two sons. I care about what happens to you. So I wanted to make this episode, and I'm going to do more that are geared to my male audience to help you live your best life possible and feel better. And that way, when you're feeling good, you'll show up into your relationships better. I think so. And stay tuned for another amazing episode. I have one coming up again next week. It's the time of the show where I do something special for you. So if you made it this far, you might as well subscribe and set your notifications so you know when I come live. If you're just tuning in now, go ahead and watch from the beginning when this ends. Set your notifications, subscribe, of course. Okay, the subscriptions are growing. I'm so appreciative of that. I cannot appreciate that enough. And the comments, some of you guys are assholes. There's more assholes filtering in. Just don't. This is a inclusive place that is respectful, and I will delete them. I don't even care. I'm unaffected. I just delete them. But most of you are so darling and leave the sweetest, kindest comments that I appreciate, and I will answer them. So right now, I want you to take a deep breath with me and close your eyes if you want. Maybe put your hand on your heart. And I want you to just center your energy and just like think about what your higher power is, right? And this is an inclusive space. So source, the universe, God, Allah, Buddha, I don't know, whatever that is for you, your higher self, I want you to tune into that frequency, that energy, right? And just take a couple of deep breaths for me. And what I have here in my hand, this is going to be special for you, is the Soul Truth Self-Awareness card deck by Brianne Hovey. Shout out to Brianne. And these are daily questions that will transform your life. So are you ready to have your life transformed? What I'm doing is I'm going to shuffle up these cards like I'm playing cards, like a little card game. And then I'm going to let one fly out at random. So I don't pick the message for you for today. It's completely random from your higher power, we'll say. And that is going to be, oh, shoot, hold on. It fell. Where did it go? Oh, hold on. I got it. Okay, sorry. I got it though. All right, so I'm going to read this to you. It says, what boundaries need to be created or strengthened within my relationship? So that's for somebody out there or all of you. I don't know. And it says, to create more healthy boundaries, we must first get in tune with our own needs, desires, and feelings and believe we are worthy of them. I think that's in alignment with our episode today. In your relationships, it's essential to know where they end and where you begin. Today's soul action, when we separate our energy from others, we gain clarity about what we really want. Then we stop doing things that no longer align with ourselves. If you are an empath, you can still be compassionate toward others without taking on their stuff. It is safe to trust that you are not here to fix anyone. Today's mantra, I have everything I need within me now, and so do they. I am worthy of my needs and I set boundaries based on what's best for me. That is your message. If you like pretty pictures, then I encourage you to follow me on Instagram so you can see my pinup journey. I've been taking a little break, but I am planning a really nice photo shoot that should come out relatively soon, hopefully before the end of the year. I'd like to do one more this year. Oh, can't see that. That's me. It's my last cover. And this was my first cover. And hopefully I'll have some more. I actually have been in 10 magazines, most recently in the chocolate cheesecake edition of Retro Lovely magazine. But you can follow along that journey on my Instagram here. So you can go here, can follow along that journey. I love all the support and the comments and everything. So thank you. You can follow my stories on Instagram to see what I'm up to pretty much regularly. And I appreciate you guys. I love you guys so much. And I'm so grateful for all the support and love that you give to this podcast and your subscriptions. It really means a lot to me. Don't forget to go and follow Lynn. And she helps if your wives, somebody needs some support. She does really love to help people, both mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and with the supplementation and all of that good stuff. And finally, I'd like to thank my sponsor, Mental Health Code. And they are on Instagram. Not selling anything, just letting you know that they're there. So thank you to Mental Health Code for sponsoring this episode. Please go and check them out. Follow them. Let them know Kia sent you. And with that, that's a wrap. Like I said, I'll be back with another episode very, very soon. And so you should set your notifications so you know when I come live. And remember, if you have questions and you're watching live, you can ask them in the chat or just drop a comment. They're always appreciated. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next time.